Good evening. Welcome to Kenya News Update today. I am your host, and we are coming to you live from our Nairobi studios on this Wednesday, February 18th, 2026. A major political and administrative development has unfolded at State House, one that could reshape the future of our capital city. President William Ruto and Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja have signed a landmark cooperation pact, outlining a new framework for collaboration between the national government and Nairobi County. But this agreement, signed just yesterday, has already sparked intense debate. Is this a genuine partnership for progress or a subtle takeover by the national government? Tonight, we bring you a 12-minute deep dive into the details, the context, and the potential impact of this historic pact. We will analyze the four key areas of cooperation, unpack the 3.7 billion shilling commitment, and hear from multiple perspectives on what this means for the over 5 million residents of Nairobi. This is a story about power, governance, and the future of Kenya's economic heart. Let us begin. Our story starts at State House, Nairobi, on the afternoon of Tuesday, February 17th. The setting was formal, the atmosphere charged with significance. Seated at the signing table were two of the country's most powerful leaders, President William Ruto and Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja. Between them sat Prime Cabinet Secretary Musalia Mudavadi, whose office played a pivotal role in brokering this agreement. The document they signed is officially titled the National Government Nairobi County Cooperation Pact. But the immediate question on everyone's mind was simple: what does this pact actually do? President Ruto was quick to address the elephant in the room. In his remarks, he stated unequivocally, and I quote, "I have no interest in running Nairobi." He insisted this was not a takeover of county functions, but rather a constitutional obligation for structured collaboration. Governor Sakaja, for his part, framed it as a necessary step to unlock the city's potential. But to understand why this pact is so significant, we need to look back at the often tumultuous relationship between City Hall and the national government over the past decade. Nairobi's governance has been a political football for years. The era of the Nairobi Metropolitan Services, or NMS, established in 2020, saw key county functions like health and transport transferred to a national government entity. That arrangement was controversial, seen by many as a de facto suspension of devolution for the capital. When Governor Sakaja took office in 2022, one of his core promises was to reclaim these functions and restore the county's autonomy. The transfer back was a slow and complex process, finally completed in late 2024. So, when news of a new cooperation pact emerged, many Nairobians and political observers experienced a sense of déjà vu. Was this NMS 2.0? President Ruto's administration has consistently emphasized a bottom-up economic model, which theoretically empowers county governments. Yet Nairobi, contributing over 20% of the national GDP, is uniquely critical. Its stability and efficiency are national security and economic imperatives. This creates an inherent tension. How much autonomy can the capital truly have? This pact is the Ruto administration's answer to that perennial question. Let us now dissect the core of the agreement, the four key areas of cooperation outlined by the president. These are not vague aspirations. They are specific sectors where joint teams from the national and county governments will now work in tandem. The first area is urban planning and development. Nairobi is a city bursting at its seams, with haphazard construction, inadequate housing, and crippling traffic. The pact aims to synchronize national infrastructure projects, like the Nairobi Expressway and the bus rapid transit system, with the county's own spatial and land use plans. The goal is a master plan that actually works. The second pillar is public transport and traffic management. This is the daily nightmare for millions. The cooperation will focus on integrating the county's bus services with national road projects, streamlining traffic flow, and formalizing the often chaotic Matatu sector. Expect to see more coordinated command centers and a unified approach to decongesting the city. The third area of focus is perhaps the most critical: water, sanitation, and waste management. Nairobi's water scarcity is legendary, and garbage collection remains a persistent challenge. The pact envisions a joint effort to upgrade the city's water distribution network, reduce non-revenue water, which currently stands at a staggering 45%, and implement sustainable waste-to-energy projects. The national government brings technical capacity and major funding, while the county provides on-the-ground implementation. Finally, the fourth pillar is security and disaster management. Nairobi's security apparatus is a complex web of national police and county enforcement officers. The agreement seeks to enhance coordination between the National Police Service and the Nairobi City County Inspectorate, particularly in managing crowds, addressing petty crime, and responding to fires and other urban disasters. This is about creating a seamless security umbrella for residents and businesses. Now, let us talk numbers, because this cooperation comes with a significant financial commitment. During the signing ceremony, a figure was prominently announced: 3.7 billion shillings. This is not a lump sum handed to the county. Instead, it represents the initial tranche of aligned national government investments into these four key areas within Nairobi for the current financial year. To put that into perspective, Nairobi County's own annual development budget is approximately 15 billion shillings. This 3.7 billion shilling injection, therefore, represents a substantial boost, increasing the city's effective development spending by nearly 25%. But here is where the debate intensifies. Critics argue that this financial muscle gives the national government disproportionate influence. They ask, who really controls a project funded 80% by the national government and 20% by the county? Proponents counter that this is precisely how cooperative devolution should work, pooling resources for the common good. The agreement establishes joint technical committees for each sector, co-chaired by national and county officials. The success of this model hinges on the balance of power within those committees. We have heard from the principals. Now, let us bring in other voices to understand the full spectrum of opinion. We spoke to several political analysts and governance experts. Dr. Ksh3.7B, a constitutional lawyer at the University of Nairobi, offered this cautious perspective. The Constitution envisions cooperative governments. Article 6 is clear. So on paper, this pact is perfectly legal and even commendable. The devil, as always, is in the implementation. The Memorandum of Understanding must have clear, measurable deliverables and a robust dispute resolution mechanism. Without that, the partner with more resources, the national government, will inevitably dominate. On the other side, economist Robert Omondi sees pure pragmatism. Nairobi is too big to fail. Its problems are national problems. A disjointed approach has cost us billions in lost productivity. This structured collaboration on transport and water alone could add up to 2 percentage points to the city's annual economic growth rate. The 3.7 billion shillings is not a gift. It is an investment in national stability. But what about the political dimension? Governor Sakaja is a member of the ruling coalition, but he has his own political base and future ambitions. Some see this pact as a lifeline, providing him with national resources to deliver on his promises and shore up his support ahead of the 2027 general elections. Others see it as a straitjacket, limiting his ability to act independently and making him appear subordinate to State House. A senior official from an opposition-aligned county, who spoke on condition of anonymity, told us, this is a test case. If Ruto can successfully assert this level of control over Nairobi, a county run by an ally, what is to stop him from proposing similar cooperation pacts with counties run by the opposition? It blurs the lines of devolution. The governor's office has pushed back strongly against this narrative, releasing a statement emphasizing that the governor initiated the talks and that the pact protects the county's executive authority. Let us zoom in on one of the four areas to see how this might work on the ground. Take public transport. The county has been rolling out its high-capacity Nairobi green buses on select routes. Meanwhile, the national government is completing phases of the bus rapid transit system and maintaining major highways. Under the new pact, a joint transport committee would ensure that bus route expansions are timed with road completions, that bus termini are integrated with BRT stations, and that a unified digital fare payment system is developed. This could, in theory, end the current siloed approach. But it requires data sharing, aligned budgeting, and a surrender of some bureaucratic turf. The same model applies to water. The Athi Water Works Development Agency, a national body, manages bulk water supply. The Nairobi City Water and Sewerage Company, a county entity, handles distribution. Chronic leaks and illegal connections mean only about 55% of supplied water reaches paying customers. A joint task force could coordinate a citywide leak repair campaign and a crackdown on illegal connections, funded by a mix of the 3.7 billion shillings and county revenue. What are the potential pitfalls? History offers a clear warning. The Nairobi Metropolitan Services, despite some infrastructural gains, was criticized for a lack of accountability to Nairobi voters. Its head was appointed by the president, not elected. This new pact is different. It involves the elected governor. But the risk of accountability diffusion remains. If a water project fails, who does the citizen blame? The county government for poor implementation or the national government for flawed design? The pact must establish crystal clear lines of public accountability. Another risk is bureaucratic inertia. Creating multiple joint committees can slow decision-making to a crawl if there is internal disagreement. The success of this experiment will depend largely on the personal and professional relationship between President Ruto and Governor Sakaja and their respective teams. A breakdown in that relationship could render the pact useless. Looking ahead, the implications are vast. If successful, this model of structured collaboration could be replicated in other major cities like Mombasa and Kisumu, creating a new template for city governance in Kenya. It could demonstrate that the national and county levels can be partners, not rivals. For the resident of Kibera or Eastleigh, the promise is tangible: more reliable water, shorter commutes, less garbage on the streets, and a greater sense of security. That is the ultimate metric of success. The pact includes provisions for quarterly public reports on progress in each of the 4 sectors. Citizens and civil society groups must hold both governments to that promise. The 3.7 billion shillings is public money, and its expenditure must be transparent and results-oriented. In conclusion, the national government Nairobi County Cooperation Pact is a bold political and administrative experiment. It is an attempt to move beyond the zero-sum game of who controls Nairobi towards a more pragmatic, problem-solving partnership. President Ruto's forceful denial of a takeover is aimed at calming political nerves, while Governor Sakaja's embrace of the deal is a bet that shared responsibility will lead to shared credit for success. The 4 areas of cooperation, urban planning, transport, water, and security, are indeed the city's most pressing challenges. The initial financial commitment is substantial. However, the ghosts of past arrangements like the NMS loom large. The true test will be on the streets of Nairobi over the coming months. Will we see coordinated action, or will this become another layer of bureaucracy? Will the 3.7 billion shillings translate into visible improvements? The pact has been signed. The hard work of implementation begins now. For Kenya News Update today, this has been a comprehensive analysis of a defining moment for our capital. We will continue to follow this story closely. Subscribe to Kenya News Update today for more in-depth reporting. Good night.